had it all: fame, money, and a voice the world couldn't get enough of. But what he didn't have was a plan to stay out of prison. When Sean Kingston dropped Beautiful Girls back in 2007, it felt like the world stopped for a second. That sunny blend of reggae, pop, and teen heartbreak became the anthem of the summer and catapulted this 17-year-old Miami-born, Jamaica-raised kid straight into global superstardom. But while fans were singing along, "You Got Me Suicidal," no one imagined that years later, Sean and his mother would be standing in a courtroom, facing federal fraud charges. Yes, you heard that right. Sean Kingston and his mother, Janice Turner, are both headed to federal prison after being found guilty of multiple counts of wire fraud. And if you thought this was just some minor mistake or misunderstanding, oh no. This was a years-long scheme involving fake payments, unpaid luxury goods, and even a SWAT raid. From Billboard charts to criminal charges. From teenage heartthrob to house arrest with an ankle monitor. Let's break it all down, because the fall of Sean Kingston isn't just shocking. It's tragic. Sean Kingston, born Kycian Paul Anderson, was just 17 when he changed the trajectory of his life with Beautiful Girls. The track, a flip of Benny King's Stand By Me, hit #1 in over 20 countries and stayed at the top of the Billboard Hot 100 for weeks. Suddenly, Sean was everywhere, on the radio, MTV, and summer music festivals. His debut album went platinum. With follow-up hits like Take You There and Me Love, it looked like he was building a lasting career. At his side was his mother, Janice Turner, acting as his manager and business partner. Their mother-son bond was seen as tight, loyal, something fans respected. But the music industry doesn't promise longevity. And for Sean, the spotlight faded faster than anyone expected. His second and third albums couldn't recreate the magic of his debut. His sound, once refreshing, started to feel repetitive as music trends shifted. Trap, EDM, and genre-blending acts began dominating the charts. While Sean still toured and collected checks from old hits, lawsuits started piling up. Jewelers, car dealers, and electronics vendors all claimed they'd been scammed. Lavish beds, custom LED TVs, exotic cars, all delivered on promises of payment that never came. And it only got worse. In 2024, everything came crashing down. A SWAT team raided Sean's mansion in Broward County, Florida. Sean wasn't there. He was in California doing a paid performance. His mom, however, was home and was arrested on the spot. Days later, Sean himself was arrested in California, right after getting off stage. Imagine performing for a crowd, knowing federal agents are in the audience, just waiting for you to hit your last note. The indictment accused Sean and his mother of using his celebrity status to secure expensive items with no intention of paying. Victims included jewelry stores, luxury bed suppliers, electronics companies, and exotic car dealers. In 2024 alone, the fraud totaled over $1 million. But according to prosecutors, this wasn't new. It had been going on for years. Sean allegedly used his social media and fame to gain vendors' trust. He even name-dropped celebrities like Justin Bieber to seal the deals. Some sellers were shown fake wire transfers. Others were promised follow-up payments that never arrived. Janice Turner was portrayed by prosecutors as the mastermind. And this wasn't her first offense. She had already served time for similar scams. During the trial, the judge pointed to her criminal history and obstructive behavior on the stand. She was taken into custody immediately after the verdict. Sean, on the other hand, was allowed to return home temporarily, but at a cost: $200,000 in cash and a $500,000 property bond. That's $700,000 just to wait for sentencing at home with an ankle monitor. When the verdict was read, both Sean and his mother reportedly broke down in tears. They hugged in court, knowing what was coming. Sentencing is set for July 2025. Each count of wire fraud carries up to 20 years in prison. Will they serve the full 100? Probably not. But prison time is guaranteed. What began as a fairy tale MySpace discovery became a cautionary tale of greed, delusion, and poor decision-making. Sean Kingston's legacy is now permanently stained. For many fans, the news was heartbreaking. How could the same guy who sang about island love and teen romance become the face of celebrity fraud? But those who were paying attention had already seen the signs. His image hadn't evolved, his music hadn't grown, and behind the scenes, things were clearly falling apart. Even without another Beautiful Girls level hit, Sean stayed active. He performed overseas, leaned on nostalgia, and maintained the image of a star. But that image came at a cost. And sometimes the cost isn't just money. Prosecutors described a calculated scam. Vendors were misled with fake receipts, name drops, and clout. One jeweler reportedly gave Sean a luxury watch worth over $200,000 after a small down payment. Then, nothing. This wasn't a one-off. It was a pattern, and that pattern may have cost him more than money. At one point, Sean and Justin Bieber were nearly inseparable. They collaborated on music, made public appearances, and seemed genuinely close. But according to reports, when Justin discovered Sean had been using his name in these alleged scams, he quietly stepped back. No more public outings, no more features, just silence. Sean kept performing, posting, smiling for the cameras. But behind the scenes, the feds were watching. The raid wasn't spontaneous. It was the result of a long investigation. While Sean was on stage in California, his mother was being arrested in Florida. Hours later, he too was in custody. That day marked the collapse of a career that once felt unstoppable. In court, Sean initially said he wanted to testify and speak his truth. But in the end, he stayed silent. And that silence may have helped him. The judge noted that unlike his mother, Sean didn't try to manipulate the court. Still, the courtroom dynamic was telling. Sean appeared calm, even remorseful. Janice, on the other hand, was defensive and unrepentant. Some saw it as a deeper truth, a son trying to break free and a mother who refused to let go. Or maybe they were both fully in it together. Their fate now rests in the hands of a federal judge. 5 counts, up to 20 years each. They may not get the max, but one thing is certain. This story is far from over. Because this isn't just a story about fraud. It's a story about the illusion of fame, the consequences of entitlement, and the cost of pretending to be someone you're not. Sean Kingston went from chart topper to courtroom, from teenage icon to federal inmate, from you're way too beautiful girl to you're going to prison with your mom. And maybe that's the real tragedy, because behind every diamond chain and luxury car was a boy who once had the world in his hands and let it all slip away. How did you feel when you heard about Sean Kingston's downfall? Were you shocked, or did you see it coming? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true celebrity stories.